Well, welcome back to my channel and me. I guess I'm doing just another off the cuff vlog a little bit. I mean, it's not, these aren't really totally off the cuff. I mean, these are things I think about for quite some time before I actually can organize my thoughts enough to make a video about it. Or, or all the synchronicities and stuff like that come together. And plus, I've just been busy in general anyway, trying to build my business. My goodness. But I had a conversation with my niece the other day, and she's an inspiration to me. Like, seriously, like she's a cool kid. And we got into we were having a long conversation, and I talked a little bit about how it seems like the internet, and especially with recent things going on that we've been seeing, it seems like the internet is just going in a negative direction, right? I mean, it has been for a while, at least since 2012, 2013, when these big tech companies started to really flex their power over speech and creativity, right? And I think it can definitely be sourced back to when, when Google started running ads on videos and people could start making money on them, which is a great thing for artists, particularly. I think that's why there's just this weird environment on the internet in the first place, because the internet is supposed to be this wide network where people can find their groups and settle in to, make whatever they want. And, whether, it'll just be for them. That was the whole beauty of it all in the first place. But recently, as recently as 2013 or 2012, like, definitely 2013, 2014 on, for sure. That's when the whole Gamergate thing happened, right? And, it really, I feel like that was like a pivotal moment in like exposing whose side these big tech companies were really on. It was either these corrupt journalists who were getting paid under the table by companies and all that kind of stuff, and it broke the door open all this kind of on these FTC guidelines that weren't being followed, or at least should have been followed, and then it just brought up to the forefront. It's kind of always been like a meme about how journalists are paid by higher ups to run a certain type of story or do a certain type of story, right? But it was always just a meme, but it was never really like, I don't know, I guess taken that seriously, maybe. So now we see, more of that is just so blatant on Twitter, at least, where these verified journalists, or, the blue checkmark group, as they say, is now, Twitter verification is not about verifying your identity to make sure your account belongs to you. When they took away Milo's, Yiannopoulos' verification, it became about who Twitter approves of at that point from then on, right? The YouTube algorithm favors certain type of content now. The Facebook is just fucked up. Facebook and Instagram are just fucked up now, completely. Those are practically unusable just because of how they have designed their, or how they redesigned the feed now. Instead of it being a normal chronological order, now it's just what they want you to see, what you think you will like the most. When it's like, you don't need to think for me, algorithm. We have brains of our own. Stop trying to think for us, right? I feel like that's a major issue that's really happening on the internet now. It's like this algorithm, AI, whatever it is that they're using, the algorithm. It's so mystical sounding. But, it's trying to think for us, or tap into our brains or whatever, and not in a good way. It's generally for trying to sell us something, right? Like all this, like I have a lot on my mind, so this is gonna be. I'm trying to make this too jumbled, but so there was a YouTube creator survey a while ago, and it asked this question. And I asked, and it was like, do you think YouTube cares about creators? And I said no. YouTube cares about money. That's why I wrote in the little comment section. YouTube cares about what they can promote and what can make the most advertiser money and gets the most views, so you can put the ads on there. And now YouTubers, at least ones who are in this to really make money, it's even at that point, it's like YouTube shouldn't be designed this way, where creators are forced to upload content. Like if you're under a certain number of subscribers, you kind of have to be forced to upload almost daily or super regularly, just to keep up, just so your content or your channel doesn't get left behind in this growing number of users and all this kind of stuff. And but there are people who but everyone who's figures out if you just upload anything daily, you'll start making money and getting subscribers just because of the attention. I mean, of course, it's not just uploading daily. There's plenty of people who do that and have no subscribers, I'm sure. But it's a certain type of content that the algorithm is looking for, a certain type of character that the algorithm is looking for to promote to its front page, to its recommended. And even though the homepage is pretty cool, I mean, the recommended is cool for recommending things based off your own interest, yes. It still favors the type of it doesn't really favor organic content, let's say. How do I put this? I mean, I just feel like when YouTube started putting monetization on videos, I feel like the intent, at least the original intention, who knows, was that so artists who don't really have, maybe, there's artists who do this in a free time or full time, who really need the monetization, because being an artist is pretty impossible to monetize, right? But then once everybody else figured out the formula to YouTube, which is just upload some decent content that's a certain length long, and and it'll get you, and usually if it's generic content, it'll get you pretty far. So that's why we see these annoying people on YouTube all the time that people really can't, that generally people can't stand, but because they attract the children, and YouTube's making bank off of them, they don't care about what they do either. And so it feels like there's so many people who are passionless about making YouTube content. That's why we see other people talking about burnout and stress from YouTube and stuff like that. It's because you're not really meant to be a YouTuber, dude. You're just doing this for the money because it's an easy job, or it seemed easy, just sitting at home making videos all day long. When for creatives, the true creatives on this site, or I say creatives, the artists, the video makers and the artists and all this kind of stuff, the visual artists or musical artists, they have to fight against the algorithm that other people have clogged up with all their nonsense. It's like it's like YouTube, the algorithm can't even filter through so much content that gets uploaded daily, and then also it has to calculate what gets advertised on. And now YouTube is just going to put ads on everything anyways, so they can, and no one's getting money. And it's even a worse situation now where YouTube is just going to put ads on everything, but people are just going to get paid less. Because now there's so many people on YouTube uploading content, trying to make that ad money, or trying to catch up to the threshold to even start making ad money. You know, it's like there's only, I mean, sure, there's users that come on every day and there's content uploaded like every single second, but there's only so many people who can subscribe to you or who will subscribe to you, right? And and people would just subscribe. I'm subscribed to like 500 channels right now, probably. I've only I unsubscribed from a few, just to clean up my feed some more. I was trying to help the algorithm help me so I can find better content, because it was recommending things that I didn't really care about, and so I had to I felt like I needed to change up my own data just to have the algorithm work with me and stop trying to show me stuff I didn't really care about, maybe. But I don't know. But that's an issue in itself, like that we have to alter our own preferences. I mean, it sounds bad when I say it that way. We should be allowed to alter our own preferences so we can get what we want recommended, but we have to work with this algorithm that isn't really fair, and it isn't really designed for preference. It's designed for views, right? So it'll just show you some random cute video from 13 years ago all of a sudden, because the algorithm picked up on it, and it picked up that it was a short, cool video that seemed to that might have been of interest to some people, because people are always going to watch something that's under a minute long if it's possibly recommended, and see it has 18 million views all of a sudden from 13 years ago. Like, what is going on in this video, right? That's how the algorithm is playing with these things. And I mean, it's not like that's a bad thing. No, it is a bad thing, because it should be that the algorithm recommends these people up front, or in the circles where they should be recommended in. I kind of miss the old days of the YouTube rabbit hole, where you could you follow along a little path, and then you can it'll show something random, and you're like, okay, I'll follow this little path. You can't rabbit hole anymore on YouTube these days. There's so much content makers, the same type of stuff. It'll just show you more of the same stuff, and that's boring. That's why YouTube is losing so much views and everything like that, because it's become boring, where I watch one commentary video. I'm not trying to watch, I don't want to see another 10 commentary videos on the same topic, like the drama videos, those, drama videos are the biggest waste of time on this website, honestly. It's not even it's not news, it's just random drama. See, my nose is itching because this is such truth. It's there's so much waste of time on this website, and it's hurting the true artists on this website. I don't consider myself one of the true artists, I suppose. I'm doing this just for kind of sharing my ideas and everything like that, and maybe hopefully trying to reach out to people who feel the same way as I do. Maybe you can form our own little space where we can talk about stuff. I for intellectual types like me, I really enjoy the commentary sphere when it's true intellectual content, not when it's the bullshit that goes on. And plus, YouTube feeds on the algorithm, at least feeds on the internet blood sports type phenomenon, where that came to a rise a few years ago as well, where there were these debates where people just got together and started yelling at each other or being stupid towards each other just for the views, and we see how that's played out. Everybody who was in that circle of stuff has become basically defunct, let's say, and everyone just went to what we're doing anyway. Fads are going to happen, sure, but that fad was indicative of how bad the algorithm has gotten, right? Because, it wouldn't become so popular if the algorithm, or at least people didn't start feeding into it so much. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe that stuff should just stay in its own circles, put some borders around it or whatever. Maybe every community needs like a little border. Maybe that's what YouTube is trying to do, but it's not really doing it in a helpful fashion. Because, it's complicated. I can understand the situation there, where they're trying to deal with cross-contamination, and then also, like, them getting bribes from the higher ups that want them to feed into a certain ideology or shut down a certain ideology. And YouTube shouldn't be doing that at all, honestly. Like, the fact that the CEO is most likely being funded by like people who are, let's say, left leaning, right? So they promote content that's left leaning, but then it actively censors and shuts down any right leaning or whatever conspiracy people, So that's not fair to creators at all, to any creator, because it just shows that they can just flip on anyone anytime as soon as the new CEO comes aboard. If they even allow that now we're entering this new tyrannical stage of leftism, it seems. What does this mean for like the future of this website, and for the rest of the internet as well? Because we see that this whole problem is just getting everywhere, and like it's choking out the true artists as well. Because now artists have nowhere else to go. That's the problem. Because not only do these big tech companies, censor and shut down people with the wrong opinion, but they shut down other websites that don't follow the same censorship guidelines that they follow. We just saw it with iOS and Google blocking Parler because they're not blocking President Trump right now or whatever, I guess, or quote unquote violent content or whatever. And it's like, it's so stupid, because it's like this whole idea, if you don't like it here, just go somewhere else. But then Google and iOS ban these platforms from even existing ban them from even existing in the marketplace. So is it really? And then there's no other marketplace for these things either. So what are people supposed to do? Just deal with it? Change their opinion? Change their whole mindset because someone wants them to? Because they're being forced to make a living. You have to change your whole way of your way of thinking and your way of speaking just to appease some big corporation. Like, come on! Like, how can people just like it's literally like, come on, like. You guys not see how this is like not like, what's the word, fascist or something? Like, come on. Like, there's no way to look at this in a positive way and be like, this is okay. This is fine. Just censoring people and blocking people from expressing their true opinions. This is great. Yeah, we're for the artists as long as they think the right way. Yeah. How stupid is that, yo? And y'all want to support that. Like, people get shut down every day on YouTube for expressing their honest opinions, or to get reported by someone, and then they're like, all of a sudden they got to shut them down, When in actuality, there's so much content on this website that needs to be shut down, but they don't, because those people uploading the content have the right opinion, or either the algorithm isn't tuned to picking up like the actual nudity that's on this website, or the actual fucked up shit that's on this website all over the place. Like, look up, there's nude yoga. First of all, my nose. Anyways, I guess I'm just not gonna go there right now. But it just shows that there's so much on this website that's not being filtered through, because they're fine-tuning the algorithm for quote unquote conservative views and everything like that, but yet they're letting all the sexual content get fly by. They banned Belle Delphine for being too sexual, but there's there's little videos of women spreading their fucking legs and on YouTube right now. If you look up nude yoga, and it's not even like instructional yoga either. There's no reason to have nude yoga on YouTube. Let's put that out there first. There's no reason for it. It's just yoga with clothes off. So you can do yoga with your clothes on, and just if you want to do it naked. But it shouldn't be on YouTube. If they're so strict about their community guidelines, never let that. But yeah, this is also the same website that promoted a fucking sex toy video aimed towards kids. Like, come on. Like, what is it with this slightly pedophile aspect to things? So, like, so what are artists to do? You know, like, I sympathize with artists because, I mean, I'm a bit of an artist myself. I draw, I write, and, you know, I'm a creative. I really feel for people who suffer on this website that they can't get enough subscribers or enough attention to even, like, you know, make ends meet where they can actually continue creating art, you know? And, I mean, unless they have, like, a Patreon support. But even then, you still have to gain a following to get a good Patreon support going. So, this is what Zizek must feel like. So, like, freaking, so what are people supposed to do now that, you know, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook are all, I don't know, sacrificing different opinions to the algorithm god or demon? What are we supposed to do about that? Everyone. I don't know. I mean, I guess we can't really work with it because it's impossible to work with. They tweak it, and then, you know, it changes, or it's like, how you say or it's self-learning or something like that. I don't know how it works, but I just know that it doesn't work for people who are legitimately trying to make a career out of their art, and then it's also being bombarded by all these other people who are just making videos, just making shitty videos just for the money, you know? Like, this whole economy system is just so fucked up. Like, trying to, like, the reason artists are so socialistic minded is because they understand that the capitalist model doesn't work, especially on the internet. I said this in my live stream the other day, is like, you know, the internet is truly a socialist place for, like, artists, you know, because either through Patreon or through our views or whatever, you know, by supporting, you know, artists online, we're creating this socialist community through it. That's what it is, because we're socially empowered. We're through our social power, we're economically empowering individuals to create art. But YouTube or Google rather saw the money in it for them, you know, and advertisers and marketers, they saw the money in it for them, and so they convinced YouTube, or at least we'll say this whole entire big tech oligarchy to start incentivizing certain types of things so they can start paying these companies more money to advertise on their platforms. And they also want them to, but then and then also that feeds into the same type of political ideology, you know, where it's so convoluted, where it's like, we can't have a capitalist internet. It's just not gonna work. terrible. It's ruining everything. It's ruining all of the favorite things that we love about the internet. It's ruining things. Like this whole fear, this whole economic troubles are because of them trying to inject their own economy into our economy, essentially, And like, maybe if people were paid more in real life, or IRL, if people were paid more at their regular jobs, we would be able to naturally support the creators we want to support. But instead of putting money into the pockets of people that these big companies employ, they want to put more money into marketing to sell you more stuff while keeping your wages low. And then you can't even support things you want to support on your own. That's why there's this whole doxing and gay people fired for having the wrong opinion thing going on. And it's like, we can't even, like, people who want to support their favorite content creators can't even do that. Because, like, they can't even openly express that they have these things. It's a big mess. It's a big web interconnected with each other, obviously. Ooh, excuse me. And I don't know how we get out of this, in a way. I mean, because it seems like they're trying to block off all the doors. Sorry, I just had a flashback to the dream I just had last night, this morning. But, they're blocking off all the doors and trying to keep us locked in here. And we're trying to find a way out so we can actually be free, so we can do what we want. Because it's a myth of this whole, internet, this hate speech and stuff like that. Because people can say whatever they want online, but you think that policing the speech is going to make people better? No. People need to raise their kids better. Schools need to be better about educating people. The media needs to stop playing up this hate all the time. Just, it's everything else that they're doing to make things worse, but then at the same time, they think they're doing. It's like chasing a bunch of animals into a zoo or something like that, and then forcing them to dance. And if they don't dance, you shoot them. That's kind of like, yeah, I think that was the right metaphor. And so, how do we deal with that, basically? Someone from outside has to come and save the day, essentially, That's essentially what has to happen, because there's no way we can save ourselves from within the system. We truly need a Neo at this moment to come in to break the matrix. Dogs. So, and we're looking for them. They're out there, but just like with everything, it's finding a way in and finding the spot to like the Death Star, finding the right spot to shoot down, to shut the whole thing down. We're in this great transitory phase, this year, and moving things into, we have this great opportunity right now, astrologically speaking, to really change the cycle into something better. And we can find the right people now to start, leading the way towards a better way of being, essentially. We talk a lot about the whole divine feminine and stuff aspect like that. But you know, I mean, yeah, like the great mother coming back and saving the day and all this kind of stuff. You know, it's like we have to like let her in, let the love in. You know, let to be open to receiving. You know, our savior, essentially. You know, there's so you got my crown chakra. So like we have to like really move towards or move away from these big tech companies that really have just entrapped us and want us and are daring us to make a move, you know, or daring us not to make a move or not to work for them. It truly isn't. This is the matrix situation that we're in the internet. And until we have, you know, a breakthrough, like a collective breakthrough, we're going to be trapped here forever, right? Because that's what's really happening right now. We're seeing it happen, and if more people don't collectivize or just collectively understand what's going on, like at a bigger scale, like don't think about right now, think about the future. That's my motto. Think about the future. Because if you just think about it right now, it's like, oh no, these people are just bad thinkers, whatever, like that, and you're not understanding the implications being laid down, the precedents being set, that could really impact us, that will really impact us negatively in the future, as far as content creation goes, and people being free to speak their thoughts and everything like that. Like, it creates this environment of fear and hate that really grates on our human spirit. And now we're in these lockdowns where we can't even communicate openly with each other because, you know, we're already afraid of the NSA and stuff like that watching us and everything we say. And now these corporations don't want us to speak openly about our true opinions, and even if we do, they're going to suppress you anyway, so you can't even find the people who even think the same as you, or maybe people who you should be in conversation with, you know, because it could be that, you know, it could be that you misunderstand something because you've been cut off from this community, you know, from each other. You've been cut off from each other for a long time. And also, you know, how can we, like, we just need to reconnect because we're social creatures. And the more we connect mentally, spiritually, it's not that we have to be close around each other, sure, but the more we connect to like our you know, just our mental state, our mental plane, we will, you know, the world becomes a better place because of that. And you know, like, we really did to spiritually connect with each other because we are, like, you know, don't let this, the whole, like, scientist or atheist communities scare you out of it. We are telepathic, you know, and when you practice your ESP, it is real. It's really real. And so, because the more I practice it, the more it's become real for me. And it's done the same for others, you know. But because we're under this whole brainwashing veil of things, people haven't been able to tap into it or been too afraid to tap into it, you know. But we have to really let go of this fear that's plaguing everybody, these doubts that's plaguing us, the hatred that blocks our love. Because when you have hate in your heart, it blocks love. And when you're afraid of something, you don't speak, you don't act. You know, you run away or you freeze when you're afraid. But when you're brave and when you're filled with encouragement, you're able to act, you're able to speak, you're able to do things. You know, your senses awaken because when you're in fear, your senses are dulled and it's hyper vigilant to something else. Watch my video about Be Not Afraid about that a little bit more. And like when we have to like get out of these patterns that are like seriously bringing us down. But if we don't connect to this spiritual aspect of ourselves like more deeply, and also stop allowing these companies to run our thoughts, basically, because if they just get out of the way, it'll just handle itself. These these institutions, these systems think that they're helping us by trying to control our brains and our minds, whatever like that. The problem is that they've been doing it for so long, is now if they even let go of the reins, they don't know what's going to happen to the population. If once they realize that everybody's been brainwashed, and then what people do in the process of unlearning the brainwashing, right? And they've burned down all the great libraries and burned all the great books and suppressed all the content, But the content it still exists though, because you can't stamp out the truth no matter how hard you try. And that's what they've been trying to do this whole time. But it's not possible. And the truth is still out there. And you'll know what's true because the truth is on a certain vibration that like you can't deny, essentially. Like when someone's telling you a half truth or some kind of lie, you can sort of sense that something's off about it, Or at least if someone's telling you at least what they know to be true, something in you intuitively is going to sense that as well. And maybe that natural other path of that truth comes up and you feel compelled to say it, and you should say that. The problem is like in overanalyzing things and like some people want to like that's a whole lot of wasted time too, of overanalyzing things that we already know to be true in a way, or overanalyzing the wrong things. Like people want to overly critique Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, whatever, and it's like, okay, you can critique it on whatever merits you can, but you cannot deny the effect it's had on people. And so what people are really trying to do when they are criticizing people like JP or really JP is like the most recent one. I think it's because he's undoing. Me personally, I believe that Jordan Peterson is a pivotal moment in our cultural history towards breaking free from the matrix of lies that's been created around us. But it's going to take. It's sort of in the fact that. And he goes against like that whole leftist ideology of things. And he's sort of center conservative, isn't he? But he's like a normal conservative person. He's a normal average guy in a real sense. At least, like we're all. It's like, come on, like we're all really have a spirit in us that is leaning towards a certain thing. And at least those of us who are really in tune with our spirit are actually a lot more conservative than you might believe, But because of the way that the word is brainwashed, you have to be a certain type of way to even gain acceptance in the grander community of things. And so now it's led to this constant air of distrust about everybody, because it's like, oh, are you pretending to be a liberal or are you really a liberal, And like, if you criticize this, you're not really that, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I'll criticize whatever I want, because people will criticize whatever they want, right? And it's just so, how you say, it's a mess. There's nothing less can say. It's just a complete total mess. And I don't know what will be done about it. I'm excited for the future. I'm always excited for the future. Especially now. Like, I feel like we're really in like the the apocalypse. And it's exciting because things are being revealed. Things are finally coming away. We're finally able to be freed from, the so-called powers that be, right? And so, like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's exciting. It's a journey that we're on together, but we must not forget that we are in control of our journey still, as we're on this journey. It's for too long, people have just been going along with with like, it's not even a natural flow of things. Because you can tell when something's natural and something's artificial, And so there's this documentary called Speciesism, I think it's called. And it talks about factory farming and how, animals are raised to be produced as consumer products. And now people are becoming, and people are being raised to be consumers. Same thing. And so how do we stop being livestock for these companies, right? There are some drastic measures. I mean, they only seem drastic because we're so used to a certain way of life. But we have to really look at this way of life that we're living and how healthy is it really for us. I have a theory. I have a working theory. I think I actually got inspired from Jung to actually figure this out because, Carl Jung, because like Western society or Western culture seems to be at the center of all documented mental illnesses in the modern times. And I think it's because of the fact that Western culture, industrialization, commercialization of everything, consumerism, capitalism, all of it has attributed to taking us away from our natural state of being and turned us into slaves, essentially. Slaves to debt slaves, because we have to, work to live, basically, or we have to work to make money to pay off our debts that we accumulate in trying to live, or if we don't work at all, we basically starve, without the charity of others. And even with the charity of others, there's charity organizations that take advantage of people's charitable traits, like we see it in Haiti, biggest example. $9 billion gets donated to all these organizations like the Red Cross and the like, but Haiti is still suffering 10 years later after that earthquake, because all the money didn't go towards the people. It just went into the pockets of the organizations who paid their friends, their real rich friends, whatever, and then they built like an Olympic stadium from there, a waste of space, a space that could have been turned into something much better, like farmland, something like that. Or, and now all these people have been moving into Haiti trying to build their businesses there, or enslave, or enslave the people, basically, like what's happening to all of us around the world, where you can't even survive unless you find some kind of job to be able to buy food, because all the other countries have bought up the land. Like in Africa, they stole all the land, and now people can't even live on the land or work the land for themselves, and these imaginary borders that have created even more tensions for people. It's a lot. We're in a lot of trouble, guys. We're in a lot of trouble now. That's what I'm saying. So what do we do? I mean, yeah, we work towards it and everything like that, but a lot more people are afraid than they are, willing to do something about it. You know, it's like people know something needs to be done, but people are too afraid to do something about it. Because like in the My Chemical Romance had that song, na 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 na. I love that song. And na 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 na. People want to change the world but are afraid to die. You know, and people are so afraid of death. That's the first thing that they get rid of is death, because it is inevitable. No matter what, you're going to die. You know, there's no point in being afraid about anything that's going on. There's no reason for these lockdowns, because if you're so afraid of getting sick and dying, stay home forever, because there's tons of illnesses out there that can kill you. You know, that doesn't have to come from another person. You can get bit, you can get a tick on you that can kill you. You know, a mosquito can kill you if you're so afraid of dying. So we can't stop being afraid of death. You know, we're all gonna die eventually. It'd just be preferable not by murder or suicide. You know. But you know, we can't be. But you know, if it takes. You know, I think they've abused Jesus's death. You know, for I've said this before, but I think Jesus Christ, you know, that may not have been his true name. You know, whatever. I feel like it's not Yeshua, probably, as people have said. But Yeshua, his death wasn't his glorious moment. You know, they glorify his death. You know, and they glorify it in a way of when you stand up to, and it's weird that they twisted it. You know, it's like he stood up to the institution that became the church, and that eventually became the Roman Church, and then they used the cross and his death as like almost as a warning flag, in a way of like, if you go against the institutions, they'll kill you, in a way. You know, him being a martyr in that kind of sense. Or, I mean, I don't know, I might be getting too off topic here, but since it's like, what I'm sensing is it's more about, you know, people are too afraid to be killed for what they believe in, you know, and people get killed for what they believe in all the time. You know, we're seeing it right now on the internet where people are getting their accounts deleted, you know, or they're being unpersoned off the internet because they have a different opinion. And eventually, and you know, there's in V for Vendetta, there was, you know, people getting blackbagged, you know, and just they come in the middle of the night and take you out, and then no one hears from you ever again. You know, it's the same thing that happens on the internet. So, you know, even this, I don't know, they could do it to anybody. So, you know, but we can't stop talking. We can't stop sharing the truth, because when we stop sharing the truth, it dies, and then we all die. Because then we all lose our spirit. We all lose our soul, essentially. So we have to connect, and we have to do this. You know, we have to, like, I don't know, hold out, man. Like, I don't have to wait for a savior, because no one's coming to save us. I mean, they say Jesus is going to come back and save us, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter, because if we stop believing in him, or believing in that message, or believing in the truth of whoever, you know, when we stop having faith in our own selves first, we've already lost the battle. Have faith in your own internal spirit, first of all, before, like, attaching yourself to some. I mean, once you do connect to your inner spirit, you're not going to want to connect to any corporation anyway, or any of these government systems in the first place, you know? But detach from all that stuff outside of you, and reconnect with the inside of you. And then you'll realize what the truth really is. You know, you'll realize what things are really right and supposed to be. You know, think about if it was happening to you kind of way. Think about like if it was happening to your friend. You know, like, I mean, it's something that that gets talked about all the time. Is, you know, some people have differing opinions all the time. You know, I have different opinions with my own best friends. You know, I think they're, you know, whatever their lives, but you know, they're living their life, and I can't tell them not to live their life their way. You know, I've tried that. It doesn't work. You know, it just makes your own self more upset and about the lack of control that you have. But when you take that to the extreme of, you know, you have to do this, you know, that's tyrannical. And so, you know, that's why I've started to take my distance from things more, because I don't want to be a tyrant of other people's lives. You know, I don't want to be a tyrant to my children or to my mate, my spouse, whatever. And, you know, it's what they want to do is what they want to do. And there's nothing that I can say that's going to change people's minds. You know, I can just tell them what I know and what the truth is. But, you know, as much as I would like them to see the truth, the way I see it, I guess, you know, or maybe I want them to have a more open perspective about things. I can't really do much about that besides just tell them that I think they should have a more open perspective, and I'll let them go about their business, whatever. But we all should have that sort of attitude, at least for these days. We need to have the attitude for each other, so we can grow and so we can progress and like move away from the troubles that have been plaguing us for so long. All these troubles, you know, all these things that plague our mentality or our world and our worldview. You know, it's affecting the globe. And I think we should be trying to, you know, be more understanding of each other anyways. You know, I can relate because, like, I'm a person who's misunderstood constantly by people around me, just because of the fact that I'm not a tyrant, and I want people to think for themselves, and I want people to have their own perspective about things, you know. But people sometimes don't see it that way, you know. I don't know. I'm gonna be getting off topic here, because, anyways, before I'm touching into an emotional spot that I don't want to go further in right now on camera. So I guess that's it for this video vlog right now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one, I guess. Check out my website, AquariusUnited.org, for my blog. I'm working on this, add some cool stuff up there. You guys can donate to my stuff to help me maneuver this world, and, you know, like and subscribe and share, whatever, to help this algorithm get my voice out there and all this kind of stuff. So, later.